Welcome back, everybody. Back in the kitchen with Chef Richard Palm, the executive pastry chef at the American Club in Kohler. He's the guy that oversees every single dessert that goes to all of the different restaurants, and a lot going on there, especially during the holidays. We're going to make a fun thing that you could make at home: pumpkin bread pudding. Great way to use up some bread that needs using. You probably have a lot of the other ingredients already on hand. So first thing that you're going to do, though, is, this is kind of a tip, is toast the bread a little bit.
Indeed. We're going to go put it in the oven, toast it for just about 3-4 minutes.
And what kind of bread did you use, Richard?
You know what? The best bread in the world to use is either brioche or croissants, but this is, I think, a little bit of French bread.
Okay.
You can use anything. It's just meant, bread pudding is just meant to soak up all of those wonderful leftover homemade stuff.
So when you basically toast it up, it's going to do better in it?
Exactly. It's going to absorb more of the custard.
Okay.
Exactly.
So we're making homemade caramel, which is really fun to do. We started out with 3/4 cup of just regular sugar, granulated sugar. Now what's happening? I'm going to let you take over from here.
Basically what it's starting to do is liquefy. This is what's called a dry caramel. And so as you can see here, it's starting to actually turn color. And I'm going to ask you to open up the cream so we're ready for that.
Lammer's heavy cream. We love that. So no butter in this at all?
No, not necessary. Okay. The only thing that I'm going to ask our guests to do if they do this at home is make sure, once you're pouring the cream in, that you're stirring at an angle, because it's going to almost look like a nuclear bomb.
Yeah, it's like a science experiment. It's very cool.
It's very close.
Keep the kids a little away from this. This is hot. So tell me when you're ready.
Yeah, it's going to actually get to be kind of a mahogany color.
So we got a little ways to go.
Just a little ways to go.
Okay.
But this goes pretty fast, actually, and that's why you have your wonderful cream right there and ready and waiting.
It's interesting to the sugar at first takes a while, and then when it happens like that.
Very quickly.
Yeah. So don't walk away, don't take a
No.
call.
And you have to keep the sugar moving, or otherwise you're going to burn it.
Okay. And just in a regular saucepan.
Exactly.
So wow, it's so interesting to see it change.
It's called a dry caramel. But again, if you don't, you have to cook it enough so that it's going to be a mahogany color, sort of a reddish brown.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's not really going to taste.
Okay.
And we're stirring now because any of those little lumps, we're trying to get those out.
Okay.
And if you don't get all the lumps out, not a big deal. You can just bring the caramel, once you've got the cream in it, back to the boil, and that'll all dissipate. But you see how now it's starting to darken?
Yeah. It smells really good.
You really want it. As soon as you start to see wisps of smoke from your caramel, you're pretty much there. And could I have the cream?
You bet. I'm going to stand back a little bit.
Yeah. So am I.
Heavy cream, but you can see the color. It really has a hint of the red color to it.
I have the hint, and see the little wisps of smoke coming off now? So now we're ready, and you do this quite slowly.
So it's hot. About how much heavy cream, Richard?
You want to get it to sauce consistency, but for about 3/4 of a cup, you're probably going to wind up putting in at least a half a cup of cream.
Okay. Keep stirring. How's the temperature of that? Should I turn it down?
Turn it down.
Okay. Oh, the smell is heavenly. Wow. And it's that easy, homemade caramel sauce.
Homemade caramel sauce. And if it's too thick, just once you're ready to use it, just add a little bit more cream, because this will be, when you do it, when it's this hot, it's going to be quite liquid, and then as it cools down, it'll tighten up quite a bit. But you see how nice, how beautiful?
Oh, it's gorgeous. So this is great over ice cream, over apple
pie.
Oh,
and not only that, but because it's very high in sugar content, it's very stable. So you put this in a thing, it's going to last for 6 weeks.
Oh, really? Right in the fridge?
Right in the fridge. And that's set ready to go.
Yum. Great, drizzled over your coffee a little bit.
And look at how beautiful.
Wow, that is fantastic. And we're going to drizzle that over our pumpkin bread pudding, which I can hardly wait. Okay, so bread pudding time. Got our bread cubes, French bread in the oven, just toasting a little bit.
And we're going to put those in here.
Okay.
And meanwhile, I think the real trick to bread pudding is to, once you toast the bread, you're going to want to let it sit for about 10 minutes, but you're going to want to stir that to moisten the cubes and make sure.
Okay.
I think that's really important. Otherwise, you're going to get dry pieces of bread that don't really have the custard, and you want this to sort of trip over the tongue.
4 eggs.
4 eggs. Again.
got a little shell in there, then I'm not the only one. I feel better.
No,
for you guys.
you're not the only one.
Just fish it right out. No big deal.
Yep, indeed. There again. And break that up.
Yep.
And if you could add the maple sugar, the maple syrup.
Okay, maple syrup.
And there should be sugar here.
Sugar? How much sugar? Coming, Ann will get it for us right here.
Let's take a look. It should be, nope, we're good. Yeah, about a third of a cup.
Third of a cup, okay. So we've got maple syrup. Is this vanilla?
That's rum, actually.
Rum. Ooh, that's what's going to make it extra special there.
And now you want to stir in the pumpkin?
The pumpkin. I'll let you go ahead and get the sugar. This is just canned pumpkin. Do you prefer to use just the canned pumpkin or the pumpkin pie filling?
I prefer to roast my own.
Yeah, yeah. But for the rest of us, Richard, pumpkin pie filling or just the canned pumpkin?
Canned pumpkin.
Okay. I'm going to get our bread cubes out of the oven. And do we need to do this in like a casserole dish?
I beg your pardon?
A casserole dish? Do we do
Indeed.
this in? Okay.
And notice it's important to get it very smooth. And if you want to put those bread crumbs
In the bowl?
into that stainless steel bowl,
You bet.
and then put the raisins
Just got
over
a little
that.
bit.
Now notice we plumped the raisins and we also soaked the raisins overnight in a little bit of brandy. What could be better than that?
Ooh. And that's just going to kind of bring them back to life?
Yeah, but there's a lot of people out there, I'm surprised to find out that they don't really like raisins. So you don't have, this is an optional, you don't have to put them in.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan, but I do like dried cranberries, so you could maybe do
There
those
you
instead.
can do it.
Oh, what a gorgeous color.
Isn't that nice? Now, remember what we talked about?
Really making sure that every bit of that bread gets incorporated.
Yeah. So don't just put it in the pan and do it. Let's do this. Let's let it soak for about 5-10 minutes.
Oh, that's the key then. Really let it absorb.
And then, indeed. And so come back every minute and do what I'm doing here. Really let that absorb.
Oh, it smells divine with the really. It's not overpowering the pumpkin.
No.
It's just kind of more of a hint. How's our caramel sauce doing?
Oh, look at that. Isn't that nice? We're going to add a little more cream to that.
You bet. You bet. It's right over there. How do you know to do that? Why is that?
It's just to get it the right. You don't have to heat it back up.
Okay.
It's going to be good. Just bring it to the sauce consistency.
Oh.
And again, what I do and what this is going to be done in is we're going to bake this in a 9x9 glass thing.
So you pour this all into your greased 9x9
Now
dish.
here's the real point. Anytime we've got a custard, which is what bread pudding really is, has to be in a water bath.
Oh, okay.
Has to be in a water bath, and you have to run it up at about at least half, but better 2/3. Reason being is that so many times when you hear people say, "Oh, look, the custard has air bubbles in it," because you see that on the sides, that means you've overbaked the custard. And what happens is whenever you overbake a custard, it sheds water, and that's what those little bubbles are. It's not air, it's shedding water. And when it does that, it tightens, so it's not as creamy, and it also fortifies the egg flavor, so it's a little bit too eggy.
Interesting. Okay, did not know that. So we want to show everybody this because it looks so beautiful. And you can just tell how moist and delicious that is going to look. A little caramel sauce on top of that. What do you think? You want to serve it up?
Yeah, let's do that.
Ooh. Richard, always a pleasure to see you. Thank you so much for
look
sharing.
At this. Look how beautiful.
Wow. Wow.
You don't need to, and then we're going to just pour a little of that caramel sauce.
I'm going to dive into that. And again, if you'd like to try some of Richard's desserts, head to the American Club during the holidays. We'll be back.